Pretty much everyone has been talking about Netflix Adolescence, so here's my take. Hi, my name's Drew and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. Now this is one of those once in a full moon times when Netflix comes along and actually delivers something that is really good, and as you can see gets a really big cultural moment actually. I mean this show has I'm sure very unexpected success. I mean if you've watched it you can understand it very much, but still, you know, it's quite crazy. It reminds me a lot about Baby Reindeer about a year ago or so. You know, it was probably thought of as a rather small British production, and it just, you know, causes these waves. It's quite crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's even going as far as the British government thinking about using this series to show to young people, to educate them on, yeah, just how society itself is developing, how especially young people are developing in our society. And I must say, I fully agree. You know, if you've got a teenager, it definitely would make sense to sit them down, watch this and discuss it with them, you know, to find out, do they have situations like this in their lives, you know, just anything that they can think about, or even if it's just a preventative thing. It's like, you know, if you're not careful, this could happen to you, or if you've got friends who are acting like this, you know, be careful, or try and sort of steer them in the right way, all these kind of things. So yeah, it's one of these things, once in a blue moon, basically, shows which I am very grateful to have, and I'm still happy that I'm paying my Netflix subscription, although every few months I do think so. There is a lot of rubbish on Netflix, isn't there? Well, these kind of shows, they make it worthwhile. Anyway, what is it about? If you're not familiar with it, if you haven't heard about it, the interesting thing is when you first see this show, you think it's a typical whodunit. You think there's a crime that happened, in this case it's a murder, and you assume that the whole show we're going to have obviously the investigation of this murder, which does also happen. But, I mean, this is a slight spoiler, but I do think it's very significant because, yeah, if that's what you're watching it for, expecting there to be, you know, constant shifts in, I don't know, evidence and, you know, oh, we think it's this guy, though, then it's this woman, whatever, you know. There's none of that here. From the start, we know what has happened, basically, right? We know who's done it. There's no doubt about it. The show is not about that. I mean, yes, it's about a murder, in this case of a young teenage girl, but the show is about how young people in society are developing and how they are acting and how they are interacting with each other. And that is the main focus of the story. We're focused on the Millers. It's a family of four, a father, a mother, and their two children. And the younger of the two teenagers, he is being arrested on suspicion of murder. He is supposed to have killed this teenage girl. And so we've got 4 episodes, it's a very short show, and in every episode you see something else happening. So in one episode, for instance, we see the police investigation at the school and them trying to find out more background, you know, to both the suspect and the victim. We've got another episode where you just see how the family deals with it, with the son being obviously being held in custody, and you know how the other 3, how they deal with it, just in one of their basic day lives. Then you've got another episode where there's a psychiatrist who sits down with the boy to talk to him and, you know, find out how he ticks basically, or what motivates him and what his beliefs are, all these kind of things. And then the first episode is your introduction, where it's just you're seeing, you know, the arrest taking place and the way to the police station and, you know, the first steps where you've got the first, obviously, interrogation and all these kind of things happening. So every episode has got its own little sort of microverse, I'll call it, the thing that it wants to show you. And yeah, so we see these different aspects, and it's not like there's this big finale where, as again, you might expect, oh, there's a big twist and no, it was someone else and all these. It does not happen, right? So I'm just telling you because while this is a spoiler, I feel it's important, because if you're going in with wanting to see it, something like that, you're going to be disappointed. Now, I find that's all I'll tell you about the plot. You know, I won't go into many details because I don't think it's really that necessary. It's just really interesting to see it just unfold for yourself. I find it very interesting. I don't have a teenager in my life right now, I mean at home. but it'll be the case in about 10 years time. But I do instruct, I teach Taekwondo, and so through that I do see a lot of very young kids, young boys especially, because this is a focus on boys, which I fully understand. And it's interesting to get an insight into that, and just shows you how just about anyone who has got to do with kids at this age, you know, should be aware of things that can happen, especially nowadays with the internet and chat groups and certain, I don't know, groups in society that are sort of distorting what values people, young people should have, especially men, young boys, etc. There's a lot of that going on with alpha males and stuff like that. I'm not claiming I'm an expert, it's just that I've also observed quite a lot, and it is very disturbing to see that kind of development happening. So all I'm saying is, if you have an ability, an opportunity to influence young people and sort of steer them in the right direction, you know, away from these kind of things, make them aware why these things are problematic, definitely you should take that opportunity. I definitely will. You know, it was quite eye-opening. I knew these kind of things were going on, but it really portrays it in a very interesting way, very shocking way, very disturbing way. Now, with that topic aside, I need to talk about how it was made. Of course, one thing that is also talked about a lot is the one shot. You've got one continuous shot in every episode, so from start to finish we have no cuts. And I don't say every show needs to be like this, or every film. It's just whenever one of these comes along, it makes you appreciate it so much. Not just because obviously technically it must be insane to go through the whole thing, rehearsal wise as well, all the actors, everyone who's involved, the camera, blah blah blah. They all need to be on point for a whole hour or so, you know, beat by beat. And it's just crazy to think about logistically, how does it all work? Are the actors, I mean, yes, okay, you could say, oh, they do it on stage as well, I understand, but a TV production is more complicated. There's more going on, at least, you know, in the, let's say, physically with buildings and props, etc, etc. What makes it so crazy here is you've got some shots where we're following a car, etc. So I mean, I've seen clips as well how they've done it. They swap the camera. I mean, they don't swap it, but they swap it from a person to a drone, and then the drone flies with the camera. Really fascinating stuff. As a drone pilot myself, I was wowed by this, right? So just the way it's shot is really incredible, but you really need to mention the actors. They're all really good, but there are standouts here. You've got Stephen Graham, who also co-created the whole series. It's funny seeing them in this after just a few weeks ago I watched Snatch, which was, as I understand, his first really noticeable role, where he's obviously very silly playing Tommy in that film, and here he's the father who's really distraught in this situation, doesn't know how to deal with it, is doing his best, you know, but he's really struggling. And incredible performance, and to think that he created it as well is really, really good. You really need to mention Owen Cooper, who is the young boy who is in this situation. Jamie Miller is his name in the show. And it's mind-blowing that this is his first acting credit. I mean, it's incredible to see a young person perform like this, regardless of their experience. But to know on top of that, that this was his first, you know, acting job, it's incredible, because he is so believable throughout everything he does in this show. It's incredible, really. There's just, I mean, talking about, you know, if you've got whatever the awards are, is it the Emmys for TV shows or whatever, he needs one, because I mean, this would, you know, if this were a film, you could even think about an Oscar performance. Really, it is that good. I'm honestly saying that, yeah. You've got Ashley Walters. He plays the sort of lead inspector who's well, obviously investigating this case. I really liked him because he's always very polite, you know, staying controlled, etc. But you can see there's something bubbling under the surface. Obviously, this murder, as with any person, it gets to him. You know, you just the heinousness of it and all these things. And you can see that's bubbling under the surface, but he keeps it under control. I really enjoyed his performance. I thought it was just really cool how he approached all these situations. You can see he's got his own little problems because he's got a teenage boy in that age, and there's some interactions there, difficulty to connect with him. At the same time, you know, like I say, trying to do everything by the book, etc. I really enjoyed that. And the last person I want to mention is Erin Doherty. She plays the psychologist I mentioned, who sits down with Jamie in one episode and tries to sort of get, you know, not under his skin, but, you know, get into his mind and sort of understand how he ticks. And the hour they spend with each other is very tense. The whole thing is very tense just because of the back and forth and how Jamie reacts in certain situations. Her performance as well, absolutely incredible. So if you've got Netflix, you know, it should be a must-see in my opinion, unless you can't stomach the topic, which is obviously fine. But if you can, definitely do it. And again, if you have young people in your life, you know, whether it be, I don't know, your own kids or, you know, people you know, or if you're like me, you've got a club, you know, at a school, some kind of extracurricular activity, try and steer them in the right direction, because I think, unfortunately, we're going to see more and more of this kind of stuff happening, with kids being more online these days and in their echo chambers and being fed the same things over and over again, reinforcing really absurd beliefs, etc. It's going to be a difficult future, I fear. But yes, anyway, to stay positive, this is a great production, absolutely worth your time, even to just get sort of a 1-month Netflix subscription to watch it. That will be all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below about anything you want to say about Adolescence, you know, how it was made, or your interpretation, or how you received it. All these kind of things, anything you want to say, put it down in the comments below. I'll thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one on Flying Wiener. Take care, bye.